Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Let me get this beanbag situated. There. Have a sip of my water that Tanya Jean just gave me. Just dropped her off after we went to the Meijer. It is 1:35 a.m. and I am at the post office. I just pulled in here for a second to sit and read some comments. And I was listening to my audiobook. I'm listening to Mistletoe Murder by Leslie Meyer. You can't see it. And I have like 2 hours left of this book, which I will be done in. I'm listening to it at 3 times speed. So I should be done with it in 40 minutes. It's okay. It's not the best book I've ever heard, but it's not the worst book. I actually really like it. I'll probably listen to more of the series. It just wasn't what I expected. It's a Christmas murder mystery. So it's actually pretty good. I really like the main character, but it took me a little while to get into. Oh, I was also sitting here and I was ordering stuff on Amazon. I ordered 4 graphic novels because I want to read some more graphic novels. And I had ordered one that was supposed to come in January. The 3rd book in the Heartstopper series is already out. And I thought it wasn't coming out until January because it said it will be like printed on such and such date. But it's already out. So I ordered it and it'll be here on Sunday. And so I canceled my other order. And so I could get it sooner. So anyway, that's what I was doing. And Tanya and I went to Meijer tonight. All of my stuff is behind me in this seat. Is it? Where is it? That's my advent calendar. Is it on the... Oh, I think it's... I can't reach it. But anyway, I was watching Michael from Puffology, his videos, and he went to Meijer and he bought this coffee, this like cold brew coffee that you can get at Meijer. He said you could get it at Whole Foods too. So when I was at Meijer with Tanya, I didn't really have anything to get. I got 2 of these things, the cranberry ones. And then I got candle waxes. I know, like I don't need any more candle waxes, but I did. I got 2. And I got Yankee candle ones, which I don't even really like because I don't think they work that well, but they smelled so good that I had to get them. I got like an apple one. I have so many apple ones. But I had all the candles like lit earlier tonight, and I had like the candle wax machines going. I had candle wax machines. I had 2 of the candle wax warmers going, and all of these candles burning, and it smelled so good in our house. And the candle warmer and stuff as well, where you put like a candle underneath it and it warms it up. It smelled so good in our house, and I was like, I want to get some more candle waxes. So I got 2 candle waxes, 2 of these things for my car, and then 2 things of coffee, because I thought, well, this will be a good review. I'll review the Starbucks and compare it to this kind. I can't remember what the name is. I knew it as soon as I saw it because he holds up this big yellow bottle in his vlog. And I was like, oh, this would be a good review for me to try. So I did. That's what we did at the Meijer. Tanya had to get some things. She had to get a card for her granddaughter. And what else did she have to get? Oh, I also got little lights for the little, like the little Christmas tree kind of things with the birch stick in it that Alex got me from Costco because he got 2 of those, and I wanted to put little like sparkle lights around it, little twinkle lights. So I got 5 of those. 2 for each one, and then I got a wreath today at Costco. They have the most beautiful wreath. The wreaths are like this big, you guys. And it was like $18, and it had pine cones on it and like little like berries and stuff. It was beautiful, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this wreath. I was like, I'm gonna come back and get a wreath. I thought, it's already December 3rd, Peter, just get the wreath. So I got the wreath because the lines were kind of long, but then the like speedy checkout where you just like check yourself out was really short. So I got the wreath, and then I brought it home. It looks beautiful with our stuff on our front porch. I love just a beautiful wreath. It just makes me happy. So I filmed a bunch of videos today, And I filmed 5 videos today. I did a booktube video. Well, I first uploaded my vlog, and then I did a review of the Irish Cream Cold Brew at Starbucks, because I had reviewed it last year and I wanted to review it again. And then I did a booktube video, which ended up being really long. I like drove around. It was like kind of like just like a vlog like this. And then I came home and I started uploading those. And then I did a drama video and I did a Peterisms video. Made the bed really, really nice so that when Alex came home, he could relax in the bed. And I lit a candle up there. I have stuff I have to show that I was sent, that I haven't shown yet on here that I need to show. Can I say show one more time? And one of the things that I was sent, I have the card at home, was a candle from Bath and Body Works. And I've been wanting to like light this candle, but it's because it smells so good. I think it's like toasted marshmallow. And, but I keep meaning to show it in the vlog, and I haven't shown it yet. Like to, you know, because I like, when you guys are so nice to send me stuff, you don't have to don't feel like you ever have to do that. That I wanted to show it before I used it. But tonight I was like, that's the perfect smell for the bedroom. So I put it up in the bedroom. So when Alex came home, like the bed was so cozy with like the red tartan plaid, you know, duvet cover, and I had the shams on. Well, of course, because we keep them on there. But I had all of like the throw pillows, and it just looked so nice. And I had the candle burning in the bedroom so he could relax and stuff when he came home, because he didn't get done with work until 8 o'clock tonight. And so yeah, that was just it. And then we just kind of like sat around and kind of like talked and joked around and stuff. And what was we were talking about earlier? I don't even remember. And then I was doing a bunch of gratitude work and doing some cameos and stuff. Just we had like a really relaxed evening tonight. It was nice. And he turned on the TV for a second. Oh, we heated up some. Well, he heated up the frozen pizza that I had made. This Detroit pizza that I made was so good. I like cold pizza. I love cold pizza. Alex doesn't like cold pizza. He, in fact, tonight, he said, yeah, that's kind of like, I can't get into cold pizza. He's like, I like just room temperature pizza. So, do you see my hair? Darling Jolene Joe, kicking 50 over here. So, he heated up 2 pieces of pizza. And then I was just kind of sitting there eating some crackers and some cheese. And, like, pub cheese. And then Tanya got some pub cheese the other day. She's like, you got me started on this years ago. And then I was like, oh, God, that sounds so good. So, I got some pub cheese the other night. And then, and like these garlic bagel chips. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And Pringles. And I just had it in like pasta salad. And I had it all kind of like just sitting out on the counter. And I was like eating it while I was doing all this stuff. I felt very accomplished today. I got a lot of stuff done. I was very proud of myself. And I almost have this book done. And I'm like, okay, that's like a book a day so far that I've gotten. If I keep on going, then I could possibly hit my goal of 100. Even if I hit like, if I even hit like 85 or 90 books, I'll be really proud of myself. So we're going, we're going in a, hold on, I'm going in a good direction. So anyway, and then Tanya had texted me because she was meeting with a sponsee, and she was like, do you want to go to Meijer with me afterwards? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, and then I talked to my sponsor, and my sponsor said that she wanted to go look at Christmas lights. And I said, well, we're going to go to Meijer, but afterwards, if it's not too late. And she was like, yeah, just let me know. But we got out of there so late. We got out of there, and then we drove around for a second and talked. We didn't go to get a fountain pop tonight because Tanya, she'd already gotten a fountain pop. And so, so when I got to her house, I helped her take her groceries. Well, she took her groceries in, but I went inside to use the restroom. And then with my advent calendar, which for some reason I'm keeping in the car, because I did this review video of it. It's the Frango Mint advent calendar. So I had already eaten day 1, because that's what I did the other day. So I gave, where's day 2? I gave day 2 to Tanya Jean. I was like, have you ever had a Frango Mint before? And she was like, no. And I go, do you want one? She goes, no, I'm good. I said, Tanya, you've never had a Frango Mint before? You have to have a Frango Mint. So I gave her 2, and then I gave Eric 3. See? And they loved it. They were like, oh my God, it's so good. So I got this at Macy's. It was expensive. It was like $25. But like you get like a whole thing of Frango mint, so I guess it's kind of worth it. It's cute though. But it's no surprise. I mean, it's just a Frango mint every single day. But that's kind of fun, isn't it? You know what I should do? Like when I was growing up, I've told this story before, but like I used to like the week of like the 14th when I would like get, you know, like for Christmas break or whatever. The week whenever Christmas break started that you would get out of school, like that Friday was the last day. Let me look on the calendar and I'll tell you like this year what it would be. Tony and I were just talking about this tonight because my birthday this year is on, my sobriety birthday's on a Thursday, which means I can't get my coin until the following Tuesday, which is the 22nd, which is like 4 days before Christmas. I mean, I can get it at another meeting, but my home group meeting. Okay, so like, so my dad would have like this medical conference in Chicago, like the week of like the 14th. So he would be up there like Monday the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, like all the way, like for a whole week, right? And then I would get like on that Thursday, I would take that Friday off school. He would let me out of school Friday. And then I would fly up there on like the 17th, which just happens to be my sobriety birthday this year. And then like the 17th, 18th, and 19th, we would be in Chicago, and then on Sunday we would like we would drive back. But I would fly up there because to meet him. And then when I got older and my dad and my stepmom started dating, which, you know, I always think like they didn't start dating until I was 12, which isn't true because they dated for like 2 years, maybe longer than that, before they got married. They were 12, I was 12 when they got married. So they must have started dating when I was like 9.5. Maybe 9. I mean, like maybe like 3 years before that. So most of those Christmases that I would go up there, my stepmom was there too. And I can remember I would go to the airport. My dad's nurse, she would pick me up after school. My little bag would be packed and everything, and we'd go by my house and get my little bag, and I would, you know, wear a little trench coat on the plane. And then I can remember she'd walk me through the airport, and she'd say, you know, you want to get like a magazine or something for the plane. The plane ride from Indianapolis to Chicago is literally like a half an hour. And I would always get those hauls, those like red hauls. Those always remind me of Christmas time. I don't know why. I actually have some in here. Isn't that so crazy? I think I do. These are probably from last year. Oh, here they are. No. Look at this little face mask that Tanya got me from Old Navy. Is this not so cute? It has little Santa Clauses on it. I love it. Maybe I don't have any in here. I feel like I did. I think I put them in my other little fanny pack thing that I'm not carrying anymore. But anyway, I have so much crap in here that I need to go through and clean. I have like 9 million face masks in here. I have all these face masks still in wrappers. But anyway, those little hauls, do you know what I'm talking about? Those cherry hauls, they always remind me of Christmas because I would get like you know, they come in like the little bar things, but then now they come in the bags and stuff. But I would get those, and then we would go to Chicago for the weekend. But so my dad's medical conference was at the Ritz-Carlton, so we would stay at the Ritz-Carlton when I was a little kid. Which, what a fantastic hotel to stay in, as you know, ever, period. But like when I was a little kid, I can remember just being like, oh my God, you know, like when we would stay there. And I would have my own room. And so at night, I think like I had like, well, I would have just, you know, like shared a room with my dad until like he and my stepmom were together, and then I got my own room. But I can remember getting little pajamas at Marshall Fields and stuff, and we would go see a play and go out to dinner, and then we would walk up and down Michigan Avenue and look in all the windows because the windows were like so Christmassy and stuff like that. But at night, they would put little Frango mints on our pillow, so you would come back to the room and like the bed would be turned down, and I can remember getting into bed and like watching a Christmas movie. I loved it. Oh my God, I just can't believe it. I miss those days. So anyway. So I should put one of those little things on my, Alex doesn't like chocolate, but isn't that so, how do you not like chocolate? I don't understand that. But anyway, I should, here's my check from the magic book. Did you guys do this in the magic book? You write yourself a check from the universe. And you're supposed to carry it and look at it several times a day. I keep it in my bag now, right here in my little inside pocket. Anyway, for something specific that you want. So anyway, yeah, I should put one of those little Frango mints on my pillow every night before I go to bed. Except that Boo and Tucker will eat them, and that's not good for dogs, because chocolate is bad for dogs. Whenever I say that, people are always like, no, that's not true, and it's like a fallacy. But then Tanya always says it is true. Listen, I just don't give my dog, we don't feed our dogs table scraps or anything. Like, they only eat dog food. That is something that my husband is very, very serious about. He's always been like that. And, I don't know if I shared this on here or not, but at the end, God, I really don't want to get real sad tonight. I may have shared this on here, I don't know. PB wouldn't eat at the end. It was bad. Like, he wouldn't eat. He wouldn't drink water. And I was kind of in panic mode. And, so I said, like, we kind of knew that things were, like, really dire. And I said to Alex, like, I was like, I just want him to eat. And, I said, what do you think about me, like, going to get him, like, a cheeseburger from McDonald's with some, like, you know, just, like, French fries or something. Maybe he, like, just likes that greasy, you know, something. Just eat something. And Alex is like, Peter, he's not going to eat. Like, he's not hungry. He won't eat. And I said, I know, but I want him to eat. Because I wasn't, like, ready, you know? And, like, I got real happy for, like, a moment. Like, I went and I, like, got him this McDonald's. I got, like, a cheeseburger, like, a plain cheeseburger. And I got French fries. And I, like, came home and I, like, cut it all up. And, I was like, I know he'll eat this. I know that PP will eat this cheeseburger, you know? I took the bun off, and it was just, like, the hamburger with, like, cheese on it. And I was like, I know PP will eat this. I know he'll love it, you know? And I cut up all these little French fries. And he wouldn't eat it. I could see his little face in my head. He just, like, turned away like he didn't want it. And so I went down in the kitchen, and I was, like, cleaning it up, and I was so frustrated. I was just, like, so, like, just mad at the universe, you know? And Boo and Tucker were sitting there looking at me. And I was, like, started feeding them these French fries. I was like, here, just enjoy these French fries. Like, I just want you guys to enjoy something since you can, you know? And Tucker loved them. And Boo Radley had this little French fry that he was, like, carrying around with him. This long French fry. And he kept on just, like, licking it. And it was, like, soggy French fry that he was carrying around with him. And he had it in bed, and he was right next to Pee-Pee. I mean, because, like, they did not leave Pee-Pee's side. And Pee-Pee was just kind of looking at him like he kind of wanted the French fry, but, like, he didn't want the French fry. And Riley just had this French fry hanging out of his mouth. I remember Alex and I just kind of, like, laughed, like, through all these tears, you know, at this ridiculousness of the situation of this, like, Boo Radley having this French fry in his mouth. And Pee-Pee would have died for a French fry, you know, before that. He loved French fries, and he had no interest. I miss that little guy so much. It's so weird to think he's been gone for a year. You know, I see people get, like, new dogs, and I think, well, I keep on thinking I see somebody in this post office walking around. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I swear I just saw somebody in there walking around. There's no way. It's 1:54 in the morning. There's nobody here. But, I see people get new dogs, and I think, like, maybe I'm ready to get a new dog. And then I'm like, I don't think so. It's not time. And now it's like, it seems so weird, like we've created kind of like this new world where it's just like Alex and I and Boo and Tucker. And I don't know what they would think if we brought a puppy into that, you know? Like, I don't know if they would be like, I just don't want them to feel like we bring this new thing in and they're not important, you know? I don't know. I kind of think at this point, Alex and I probably won't get another dog until they're gone. Which makes me so sad, you know? It's just like, to even think that. And I hope that they have very, very long lives, because I'm not ready for that yet. Alex keeps on referring to them as elderly dogs, and I'm so tired of it. He's like, well, they're elderly dogs. I'm like, they're 11. Okay, they're older, they're not elderly. And he's like, they're older dogs, Peter, they're elderly dogs. And even if that's true, I don't like thinking that way, you know? What happened? I got so sad on this vlog, my God. So anyway, I'm going to finish this audiobook, and then I don't know what I'm going to listen to next. I don't know if I have the next Misfortune book downloaded. If I don't, I'm going to download it, but let's see if I do. Oh, I do. Later Gator, it's called. I have Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. It's short, 6 hours and 42 minutes. Later Gator, it's short, 7 hours and 15 minutes. Mallory by Josh Malerman. That's the sequel to Bird Box. I really want to listen to that. And then Nick and Charlie and This Winter, which are spinoffs of the Solitaire book by Alice Oseman. And I have all three of those. I want to listen to them. Mountains and Magic, which was recommended to me. Felix Ever After, which was actually a daily deal, but it's supposed to be really, really good. My Sister is Missing. I know nothing about. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. That's the V.E. Schwab book, and it is getting so much attention right now. But it's 17 hours and 10 minutes long. Surrender Your Sons by Adam Sass. Somebody recommended that book to me. I don't know anything about it. 'Twas the Knife Before Christmas. Definitely going to be listening to that soon. The Candy Cane Caper. I'll be listening to that soon. Oh, wait. No. I almost did something to one of these books. I keep on deleting these books by accident. Read and Gone and Buried in the Stacks. Those are Allison Brooke books. Those are sequels to the book that I read when I was in Florida. And then 3 Agatha Christie books: The Secret Adversary, The Murder on the Links, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, Dead and Breakfast, Death on the Nile, the Agatha Christie book. They're making a movie out of that, a new one. Summer of Night by Dan Simmons. One of my friends, my sober friends, told me that this is like his favorite book ever, and it was so good. And I had mentioned this book to him that I had read like years and years and years ago. I can't remember. Boy's Life. Very much kind of like Stand By Me. And it was by Dan McGammon. I can't remember the guy's first name. But anyway, he said Summer of Night is like that. And he said it's his favorite book. So I bought it. It's 22 hours and 2 minutes long. So we'll probably wait for that one. And then I have a bunch of short books, like The Turn of the Screws, 4 hours and 40 minutes. That's a free download. I got that because based on Bly Manor. And then Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I've never read, 3 hours and 7 minutes. Amityville Horror, 6 hours and 28 minutes. These are all free on Audible. Leave the World Behind, 7 hours and 26 minutes. One of my friends was reading that on Instagram, and I saw, well, acquaintances, not really a friend. Surface Tension, I got that for when I was in Florida because we'll be going down at some point again, so I'll be listening to that then. But then One for the Money, I got that for there because it takes place in Florida. One for the Money by Janet Ivanovich. I really want to read that too because everybody's talking about the Samantha Plum character in that series. So many good books I have downloaded. 12 Slaves of Christmas. First Grave on the Right by Dorinda Jones. I really want to read that. I've got so many books to read. So many good books. Do I have other Christmas books down here to read? I feel like I do. Oh, The Mistletoe Promise, Finding Noel. Just must be from... I feel like I read that. Finding Noelle last year. I feel like I read that book. Well, I have those two to read if I want to read those two Christmas books. The Music of What Happens by Bill Konigsberg. I read his, like, the original book, which was called... I can't remember what it was about. It was about this guy, and he had, like, a gay best friend. It was really good. Dear Evan Hansen, I never read that, the novel. I heard great things about that. I have so many books I need to read, like Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel, who was like the third part of the trilogy. I never finished that. We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. I heard that was fantastic. Girls Night Out. Mel told me to download that, and then she said it was horrible, and I downloaded it. She didn't tell me to download it. Before the Fall, I've wanted to listen to that forever. Meg, about the shark. I don't know why. I think that was maybe free or something. Well, no, it wouldn't have been then. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. It's 16 hours and 12 minutes, but I really, really want to listen to that. The Member of the Wedding by Carson McCullers. It's like one of my all-time favorite books. Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. I've got so many books to read on here. Oh my god. I have wait, that can't be right. Oh yeah. I have 216 books that I have not started. 216 books. Can you guys believe that? 216 books in my Audible. Can I go and see? Okay, let's see how I have finished. I have finished 283. I've started 14. Well, some of these I finished. Why isn't it not saying that I finished them? How many do I have total? Oh my lord, 513. I can't believe I have 216 books in my Audible that I've never read. That is crazy, you guys. That is so crazy that I have that many books. I need to stop buying books on Audible. Okay, let's go in and read some comments off the vlog. How about that? What do you think about that? Let me get my glasses on. Where are we at on time? I've got a couple minutes before it stops. Okay, Lana gave red hearts. Hey, Lana. Amy gave blue hearts. Hello, hello, hello. Andrea said, hello, hello, hello. I have a quick question. Why would you stop having a relationship with one sponsor and move to another? Just curious. If you can't answer, I completely understand. Oh, no. I don't have a problem answering that at all. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, but I'll tell you what my reasons were. And, but I'm gonna, actually, when I start driving around, I'll talk about that. Carissa said, have such a nice Friday, everyone. Aww. Maravana said, Peter, I always listen to your vlogs when I'm commuting to and from work. So technically you are speaking to a friend in the car, LOL. Thanks for keeping me calm in traffic. Joelle Littell said, oh my god, your dancing just made my heart smile. Elizabeth and Carissa both put blue hearts. Carissa said, my favorite Christmas movie and probably favorite movie ever is Jim Henson's Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Everyone needs to watch it. Okay, I used to actually own that movie, and I have to tell you something. So back in the day when I was working in treatment, I had a partner, like one of my partners in there that I worked with. That was like her favorite movie. And she had, while I worked with her, she had a son and a daughter. And she would always say, like, that she wished that she could show it to them. Well, I owned it, like, on VCR tape. I had bought it, like, on eBay or something like that, because I love the Muppets, anything to do with the Muppets. What's my favorite is Janice with the long hair, like, totally, you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, so I ended up one year for Christmas, I, like, wrapped it up and I gave it to her, because I thought that I really just wanted her to have it, like, for her family and her kids and stuff like that. You know, I don't remember I remember watching the beginning of it, but it's probably on YouTube now anyway. Carissa, hey Karen and Laura. Karen, you better be at the live stream on Sunday. Why did I just feel like I have something I have to do on Sunday? Why do I feel like I have something I have to do on Sunday? And I'm like, I can't, because I have my book club on Sunday. What do I have to do on Sunday? Alex said something to me about Sunday. Or was it Tanya? It's gonna stop. Hold on just a second. Okay, I had to change the battery because I was like, if I start driving, then it was at the end anyway, you know? So I was like, well, I'll just change the battery now. So anyway, let's get back to a few more comments and then I'll start driving. Let's see. Melissa said, hey, Peter, I'm a Detroit girl. Love Detroit pizza. Hey! Jerica said, my favorite part of the vlogs are when he goes, LOL, ha ha ha. Love them. I watch every single night. Thank you! Share Bear said, hey Peter, much love to you and fellow Wolfpackers. I accepted the Peter Monn vlog challenge, LOL. Peter and Mike inspired me to just do it. I have 2 vlogs up now. Evelyn said, you go, girl. Uni Kitty Rose said, hey, Michael Judy, I'll be checking that video next. I will too. I'll watch them later tonight. I think I noticed like the first one already, but it's like 37 minutes or something like that, and I just didn't have the time yet, so I will watch it later tonight. Someone said, you changed your name. Oh, they're talking to somebody else. Right? I guess. I'm confused. I don't get it. Okay. Melissa said, hello, hello, hello with a Christmas tree. Sean said, love you, Peter. Love you, Sean. Tammy said a little heart emoji thing. Nancy, blue hearts. Evelyn said, hi, Peter. Hi, Evelyn. Haley put blue hearts. Chinder said, I adore you. I adore you. Mary said that Starbucks cup you have with the cactuses, is it cactus or cacti? I don't know. I think it's cacti. I don't know either. It's so cute. I love the colors. Hope you're having a good week. Take care. Thank you. Actually, Frank sent those to us. I don't know if he still watches my vlog, but Frank used to watch my vlog, and he sent us this entire care package that was so nice. He sent us like this Dior Sauvage cologne that is like, we still love it. Alex wears it all the time. And he sent us each one of those cups, Alex and I. And then he sent Tanya a cup. And a bunch of other stuff. It was really nice. Lala said, hey Peter, have you tried the Beyond Pizza from Pizza Hut? I have not tried it yet, but I really want to. Carrie said, hi Peter, with a clap, like a wave and a blue heart. Hi. Lala said, I live in southern Indiana. We have the same weather. Love you. Love you. Ariana D said blue hearts. We have like 2 or 3 Arianas that watch this. Oh no, there's an Adriana Ariana. Crystal said, love you, Peter. Love you, Crystal. Nick said, blue hearts. Love you. Love you. Okay. Crystal said, I'm no hater, but I do watch every minute of every vlog. I love that so much. Thank you. A lot of people commented about the Michael thing because I said if he was like being like shading me jokingly. He was not. It was all completely sincere, and he is a super, super nice guy. And I can't wait to do a video with him. I think it'll be really fun. The Artful Colorist said, Peter, keep telling all of your stories again and again. I love it because that is what I do with my friends. Aww. Okay, so, and then Gina just left some blue hearts. Gina! Oh, that was on November 25th vlog. Gina, you better catch up. In about 2 weeks, she'll comment on this video and be like, oh my god, that was me. Gina DN. That's what I'm going to say about your name, and you'll know it's you. You left 5 blue hearts on This Was Too Much, November 25th vlog. I'm running out of titles, you guys. Like, after 1,400 vlogs, I guess I've had 1,400 vlogs, I'm running out of titles. I don't know how you find out how many videos I have. Does it say? Is it not crazy? Well, I guess you could just figure it out, right? 365 times 4 years. Are you sure I've done 1,400 vlogs? I don't know if that seems right. 365 times 4 is 1,460. But I took a week off. last year. So that was like 7 or 8 days I took off after PP died when we were in Mexico. And then, yeah, I think that's it. So I bet I am at over 1,400. That is so crazy. That is so crazy, you guys. Oh, I wanted to read that one comment again so that I know how to, I want to say about the sport, how to address it, about the sponsor thing. Hold on a second. Let me get into my comments again. I have a quick question. Why would you stop having a relationship with one sponsor and move on to another? Just curious. If you can't answer, I completely understand. Okay. Well, there's a lot of reasons. I will say that there's a lot of different philosophies around this, okay? And there's this whole idea of like, well, there's this whole kind of belief system around like people either do or don't believe like in firing a sponsor or firing a sponsee, right? Listen, as long as somebody wants to work, I'm like, you know, why would you do that? But that's just my own 2 cents. So anyway, it's my personal belief. So I'll just tell you what happened with me. Okay, so my first sponsor that I ever had, and I'm gonna drive while I talk about this. My first sponsor that I ever had, he just wasn't it. And I actually think in like retrospect, like we just didn't click, we just didn't connect. And he really like, he was really good about taking me to meetings when I first got out of treatment. But other than that, like, I don't know that I really think in retrospect he had a real great knowledge, like, of the steps. I think he was, like, I'm not, like, there's a saying that, like, meeting makers make it. I think it's great to go to meetings, right? But, like, meetings are not everything. You know, I think you have to work with steps and things like that. So, he was my first sponsor. He sponsored me for a couple months. I'm very thankful for him. But then I got sponsored by my friend's husband. And I knew, like, here was the thing. Like, to get out of treatment back then, I don't know what treatment's like today, but to get out of treatment back then, you had to have a sponsor. So my counselor, like, had hooked me up with this guy. And I just, to be honest, like, we just didn't click. We were very different. And you don't have to click with your sponsor, but I wanted to click with my sponsor, you know? And I don't know, I just like, he wasn't, like, he would never say things to me really about, like, working steps or whatever. Like, it was just like, are we going to this meeting or are we going to that meeting? So I kind of always knew that I wanted to have a sponsor that, like, I really, like, worked with closely, because I would see friends of mine that have that, right? So that was that. There was nothing bad about it. If I remember correctly, he was really early in sobriety. Like, he had, like, 2 years sober or something like that, which is whatever, you know? So my friend's husband, who I adored, totally goofy. We were like, I mean, you talk about we weren't the same. I mean, we were nothing the same. But like, whenever he would speak, like, he just, like, whenever he would share, like, in a meeting, like, I so just was like, God, he's so honest. He's just so, like, raw and vulnerable. And that has always been, like, so attractive to me. Not, like, romantically, but, like, attractive to me when somebody is just so, like, raw like that, right? And we were in this meeting, and the topic of the meeting was balance in our life. And I was very much in early sobriety, like, let me sit in a meeting and tell you what I think you want to hear, which don't ever do that, because there's people dying in the rooms of recovery because they're appeasing other people, which is not any reason why you should ever be there. I mean, it's okay. Like, I was going to meetings at first because, you know, like, everybody in my life would have cut me out if I didn't stay sober. So I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about when you're in a meeting, don't be, like, sharing things because you think it sounds like the right thing or the good thing to say. Who cares? It's stupid. And I did it for a long time. So I was in this meeting and we were talking about balance. God, I can see myself there. it was this meeting in another program. I'm not in the same program, 12-step program. I'm in a different program now, but my first year I went to a lot of different meetings. And so this was my home group that I went to. It was closed down now. It was called Surrender to Win. And that meeting like saved my life for a long time though, we were in there, the topic was balance. And I remember it was at this old charter hospital in Indianapolis, which has been closed down forever. And it was kind of like this loud, wild meeting because they would bring like patients in there from charter hospital. And so I was sitting there, and it came to me, and I was like, well, I think I do a pretty good job balancing my life. I'm like 4 months sober. What the hell do I know about balance, right? Like nothing. And I had just started working. Well, I was probably like 5 or 6 months sober at the time. I had just started working in treatment. I'm trying to think of like, now I'm going to like, okay, when did I get into these relationships? Because that's would also align with when I got him as a sponsor. I may have actually got him as a sponsor before I started working in treatment. I think I got him as a sponsor at like, so I dated my first boyfriend the week after we got out of treatment. Not a smart move. And then he and I broke up, and I got into another relationship a week later. That one, Steve was my sponsor, and he has since passed. And I still to this day have a hard time talking about him. But that coincided with him being my sponsor, so I started dating him, my second boyfriend at the time, and like, it was the first summer session, so it would have been the end of April. And God, I'm just real emotional tonight, aren't I? And my head's just spinning. I'm just like, images and thoughts and memories are just like going rampant in my head about him. But anyway, so I started dating this guy around the same time that I got Steve as a sponsor. And we were in this meeting, and the conversation was about balance. And I was like, oh, I balance my life great. I have like a great balance, you know? I was like, my life at 4 months sober was still chaos. Let's just be for real, okay? I had no idea of what balance was. I still don't. And so it came to him, and he was like, well, he was like this really like short, kind of like goofy looking guy, but just so real and honest. And he was like, I like to think that like I have balance in my life, but he was like, I don't know anything about balance. Like, and it drives my wife crazy. But you know, like if I can just get up and stay sober for a day, and I got a chance at this, you know, I got a chance at life, and it doesn't really matter if my life is that balanced. I can remember I just sat there literally like with my mouth open, like, oh my God, he's so honest. Right after that, I was like, and I had asked, sometime around then I asked him to be my sponsor, and so he did. I don't even remember like there being like a fading out with my first sponsor, because I think we had already kind of faded out. And so he was my first sponsor, or he was my second sponsor, and he was who I worked steps with. He's who I did my first 4-step inventory with. He taught me everything I need. Not everything I needed to know, but he taught me a lot to keep, like, for the fundamentals and foundation of sobriety. And we went to a lot of meetings together, and I did my 5th step with him, which is where you share your 4-step inventory. And then I was sober 4 years, and he had told me like a month before that he was gonna like bring a cake and everything, and got a special coin for me and all this kind of stuff to our home group. And the home group was dying. They no longer brought the patients there. I can't remember why. And then they would sometimes, and sometimes they wouldn't, but mostly they weren't bringing the patients there anymore, which is why we had the meeting there. And like every week, like somebody else wouldn't show up, and it was a small meeting anyway. And he didn't show up for like Well, he and his wife got divorced about a year before this. So I didn't know from her anymore, like, what was going on. And I think at that point, she and I weren't working together anymore. She had gone somewhere else, was working. And so he had told me, like, I hadn't seen him in like 3 weeks or something. And then there was like 5 people 1 week, and then like 2 people, and then it was just like me for 3 weeks in a row. So the last week that I went, and I didn't know anything about closing down a meeting. I didn't know that there was a way that you did it. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff. I went in there and I sat down and on my birthday, and I said, so I opened the meeting and I read through the preamble and everything, and went through it, like, anybody got 30 days, 60, I mean, there's nobody there, it was just me, and I was reading out loud, you know. And then I said, anybody have multiple years of sobriety? And I said, my name's Peter, and I took a 4-year coin out of the thing, and then I said, does anybody have any burning desires? And I closed the meeting, and I went out, and I said to the receptionist at the front, I said, I won't be coming back, so I don't know who's going to be leading this meeting going forward. It didn't really matter because Charter only stayed open for like another year after that anyway. But I mean, that meeting probably would have been moved somewhere else, but it doesn't exist anymore. By the way, I do know this today, that if you're sober and you're active in a 12-step program, there's a way that you close a meeting down, and that's not it. But I didn't really know what to do at that point. And then I don't remember how much longer it was after that I got a call from, or his wife told me that he had overdosed and died. I lost a lot of friends around the same period of time. I had a really dear friend of mine. I have a lot of art in my house that he did because he was an artist, and he and his wife were just such a cool couple, and I worked with him as well, and he had a brain aneurysm and he died. My sponsor died of a heroin overdose, which is probably partly why I am so hardcore about opioid addiction today in our country. So that was my second sponsor. And then my third sponsor, he lives on the south side of Indianapolis. He's still actually a friend of mine today. And he used to come to my home group meeting. He would drive 45 minutes to come to my home group meeting because he knew a lot of people that came up here. And the home group that I go to, like, it was probably one of 4 or 5 meetings in Indianapolis for a long time that had like really long-term sobriety. Like, a lot of people there had really long-term sobriety. So people would come to that meeting for that. And not that necessarily makes a difference, but that's just why a lot of people did. But anyway, so he knew a lot of people because he had gone to, like, you know, conferences and stuff, and you would meet people, and he'd say, oh, come up to this, you know, whatever. So he would drive from the south side all the way up here. And he was my sponsor for a couple years. And that was like a really big part of like when Tanya and all of us were traveling, and we would go to Lake Norris, Tennessee, and all this kind of stuff. And then he stopped coming up to the north side. He went to the south side, and so at that time, because of that, he wasn't up here like anymore, and I wanted somebody that I could work with hands-on, you know, and see on a regular basis. So because of that, he started going to all Southside meetings. So because of that, I got my next sponsor, which was my fourth sponsor, and he was my longest sponsor that I've had. And I'm like trying to think about when's the last time I saw my third sponsor. It's been a while, but not too long, because when my friend was visiting out of town, she and Tanya and I went over there to his house because he made us dinner. But we used to go on trips a lot because he knows Alex, because we used to go to Lake Norris, Tennessee, all of us. Like when Alex and I started dating, he was still, like Alex and I went for like the first 2 years. Well, the first 2 years that Alex and I dated were the last 2 years that we went to, because we used to, like, there'd be like a group of like 6 sober people, and we'd all bring our like partners, and we would all go to and rent a cabin in Lake Norris, Tennessee on the lake. And that was like, Alex and I's first 2 years together were our last 2 years of doing that trip, and he would always come. So anyway, so then my fourth sponsor was this guy that I have been friends with since probably my second year of sobriety. And I had always kind of said, like, he's so wise, and I had always kind of said that, like, if I was in need of a sponsor, like, he was who I wanted. Like, he just spews wisdom, and not in layman's terms too. Like, I mean, he looks like a truck driver, a retired truck driver, and always wears a trucker hat, and he's just absolutely hilarious, and, you know, like, just very real about stuff, just very real. And, you know, from the book, and can be compassionate, but is also, like, very direct. And, so he sponsored me for a very long time, like years and years and years. And he has a lot of health problems. So, but I adore him. Like, he is just one of my favorite. He called me like a week ago. He's like one of my favorite people in the entire world. He has said so many things to me before that I just am like total aha moments. I'm like, God, why didn't I never look at it that way, you know? So he sponsored me for a long time. He sponsored me, like, you know, through like beginning to date Alex and stuff like that. But then there was a period where, well, the 4 years that I didn't go to meetings, he was my sponsor, and he would call and we would talk about once a month. And when I came back, I was going to like 14 meetings a week. I was getting asked to do a lot of stuff, sobriety stuff. And we were having a conversation about something one day, and he said, I think you're getting really comfortable. He was like, I think you're getting really comfortable in sobriety. And he was like, you know, you came back and you did all this kind of stuff. And he's like, I'm really afraid that you're gonna like start getting eaten up with ego, arrogance, and pride. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, well, a lot of people that have like long-term sobriety, like if they don't stay humble, they get eaten alive with arrogance, ego, and pride. And he goes, so I want you to start going to some new meetings, and you can't say how much clean time you've had. And you just have to sit there and share. And unless somebody asks you how long you've been clean, you can't say anything. And I was like, what is this about? And he goes, you just need to go and you need to remember what it was like to be a newcomer. Because he really thought like me coming back in was like me coming back in as a newcomer, you know? And so I did. And the first meeting that I went to was this candlelight meeting that my friend, who I don't know if he's sober today, I miss him dearly, he took me to. And we just went on a random Wednesday night. I think it was a Wednesday night. And I loved it. I hadn't been to a candlelight in a long time, and I loved it. And because like the candlelights on the north side, they only used like fake candles, but at these meetings they used real candles, and it was very cool. And it was very spiritual, and I just felt like I left there and I just was like, oh my God, I just felt full of spirit, you know? And the first meeting I ever went to, there was this guy that was a chairperson there, and I just was like so taken with him. And he reminded me a lot of my sponsor, but like 30 years younger, 20 years younger. And I was like, this guy is just like really cool, and I really like him, and he's very awesome. And so, but I didn't think anything about him, like, really being my sponsor. So we, to kind of, like, okay, I'm a believer that, like, you know, you could have the same teacher from kindergarten through high school and maybe learn a lot. But, like, if you had different teachers, you know, a teacher will bring you so far in your journey, and then another teacher will pick it up and take you to the next part of your journey, and on and on and on. Does that make sense? So, like, yes, I know people that have had the same sponsor their entire 30 years of sobriety. I know other people that have had 10 sponsors, you know? So it's like, for me, there's been, like, situations and things that have happened along the way. That's not to say that I wouldn't have kept the same sponsor for the whole time, because I would have if I had somebody that, like, you know, all these life events and things hadn't happened. So anyway, I switched my meetings completely, and I stopped going to all the meetings I was going to except for my home group meeting, and I started going to all candlelight meetings. And this gentleman was always at these candlelight meetings because he was very active in them. And we became very, very close. And I wasn't going to any of my other meetings, and I wasn't seeing my sponsor, and we were just talking on the phone. And he was really busy because he was sponsoring a couple other guys. And so I said to him, I said, hey, like, you know, I'm going to these new meetings. He knew this guy. I mean, Indianapolis is not that big. So he knew this guy, and he was like, oh, I really like him. He's a really cool guy. And I was like, well, I'm thinking about asking him to be my sponsor because I see him more. But, like, I get so much from you. What if, you know, you stayed my spiritual advisor? And he was like, I don't think we need to do that. Like, I'm your friend. Just, like, go work with him. I think it'll be a great thing. And I was like, okay. So I did that. There just was, okay, so he and I were very good friends, but the sponsor part of it just didn't ever click, really. I don't even know why. Not to mention that correlated with the time that Alex and our, like, marriage was not great. And so we were getting ready to start counseling. My sponsor now, so, okay, in recovery, like, I'm a person that goes by what the suggestions say, okay? I've always followed the suggestions of the 12-step program. And the suggestions say that men sponsor men and women sponsor women. And that your sponsor should be somebody that has a year or more sobriety time, an active working knowledge of a 12-step program, and that they are sponsorable. And what that means is being sponsorable is that they're teachable. And if they're sponsorable, that means that they have a sponsor and that their sponsor has a sponsor and that their sponsor has a sponsor. It means that there's a line of accountability there, right? And I believe in that wholeheartedly. So, and none of the people that I had as sponsors, like, had, like, sponsorship families. Like, I also wanted to have a sponsorship family. Like, I had heard about this for years where people would say, like, oh, my grand sponsor or my sponsee's sister or whatever, you know? And I had also seen, like, Tanya and my other friends, like, they also have these amazing relationships with their sponsors where they could sit there and do inventory, and they were like, they would learn so much from them, but then at the same time they would, like, go out and have lunch or take little weekend trips together or go shopping. And I had never had that, but I had witnessed a lot of my, like, heterosexual male friends have those relationships with a sponsor. So it was like there was always something missing for me. Like, my guy friends that were straight, like, they had those relationships. My sponsors had those relationships with some of the straight guys that they sponsored. And my female friends had those relationships with their sponsors. But, like, I had never had that relationship. You know, even, like, my last sponsor, he and I were kind of more like older brother. I was like younger brother. He was like older brother, you know? And so I don't know. It just, I was sitting in a meeting, and it was actually, I think it was our gratitude dinner meeting that we had, and it was like Thanksgiving. It was sometime around there, Christmas. And my sponsor now, she came to speak. She was asked to speak. And I had known her because she sponsored a friend of mine. And so, like, I knew her, but I didn't know her well. And I'd always thought very highly of her. I mean, she is just no joke. Like, I mean, if you looked at her, you would, I joke, but she looks like a real housewife. I mean, like, from, you know, but, like, she is no joke. like, it lives, breathes, eats recovery. And I mean, you call her at 4:30 in the morning and say, it stopped. You could call her at 4:30 in the morning and tell her that you're in the worst situation in the entire world, and she'd come there and be there for you in a second. You might not like what she has to say, but she'll be there for you. So I was working with this guy, and I just wasn't getting anything from the relationship, like, other than us being friends. Like, I wasn't working steps with him. And that wasn't his fault, because he was telling me that he wanted me to do a whole other inventory and all this kind of stuff, and I was kind of like resistant to it. I didn't really want to do it. And I was kind of burnt out. I was going to like 6 meetings a week. I actually, at that time, I had called my old sponsor and talked to him. And I was like, I'm going to 6 meetings a week. I have like 3 service positions. You know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I remember he said to me, he was like, are you hiding out in recovery? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, you didn't get sober to sit in a meeting for the rest of your life. He was like, we go to meetings to keep us sober. Like, that's our medicine. He was like, but not 24 hours a day. He was like, you got sober to be a better husband. You got sober to be a better son. You got sober to be a better friend. Like, are you doing those things, or are you just hiding out? And I was like, I'm hiding out. Like, because our marriage was bad. And so she came to speak, and I heard her speak, and she talked about being in counseling. And she said that if she, and I actually said something to her one time, and I was like, I said something about, I think I shared this like in a video or whatever. She's like, I don't care. She said she'd get on video and do her whole lead for me. I said, no, you're not gonna do it. She wants to be in a video so bad. But anyway, she talked about being in counseling, and she talked about how, like, if she was gonna go to counseling, she wasn't gonna waste her money, that she was gonna be, she was gonna go in there and get her money's worth out of counseling. And that she went in and she told this counselor, okay, I'm here and I'm gonna get my money's worth out of every session that I'm here. And we were literally starting counseling like the next week. And then she also brought up this term, this idea of being sponsorable, which I had never really heard of before. And my previous sponsors, like, just, I don't think they saw like that idea completely the same way that I did, you know, with the idea of having a sponsorship family and all this kind of stuff. And she talked about her sponsorship family and how much it meant to her and her grand sponsor and all this kind of stuff. And I wanted that so bad. And there was just, there's such a joy about her that, like, but that she receives by working through the pain. And she's just somebody that, like, really does a lot of work, and it's really impressive. And you know, like, have you ever met somebody that, like, goes to the gym 5 days a week? Like, they have a phenomenal body, and you're like, oh, because you go to the gym 5 days a week and you eat really healthy, right? Imagine if you were putting that much work into sobriety, what that must look like on the outside. And that's who she is. Like, she is the person that just exudes happiness, joy, and peace. And she has an amazing life. And no, not everything is perfect. But she'll tell you what's not perfect, and she'll be real about it, and she'll be honest. And I wanted that so bad. But I fought this idea of having a female sponsor, because I had always believed that men sponsor men and women sponsor women. Except that it says in the pamphlet, which is approved literature, that part of the suggestion is that women can sponsor gay men and men can sponsor lesbians, or vice versa. And I had never done that, but it did say that's okay, that they consider that okay. Now, I will say this, I don't think that I would have done it in early sobriety, because I think I had a lot of issues that I needed to talk to, like, that another man understood, if that makes sense. Like, I think there are some specific issues, like, I don't know. And you know, like, the reason that you wouldn't, like, I mean, I know a lot of gay guys that have gay sponsors and it totally works for them, but, like, what I was always taught early on in my generation of getting sober was you wouldn't have a gay sponsor, because then what if there was an attraction there, you know? So anyway, but Alex and I had started counseling, and it was going well, and we were going to marriage counseling every week, but like in between, like 1 week I would see the counselor, and then the next week Alex would see the counselor. And so we were going twice a week as a couple, 1 time a week, and then one of us was going individually, and we were doing that back and forth. So I started talking to him about getting another sponsor, and I said that I had always wanted to have this relationship. I said I was entering this next part of my life. I had come back. I had really taken all the suggestions that people had given me. I was really wanting to work on being a better person. I was really wanting to work on myself. And because I was unhappy. Like, it wasn't just our marriage. Like, I just was an unhappy person. And it just was bitter and miserable, and I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And so I just kind of threw this idea out one day to him, because our counselor knew a lot about recovery, and I said, well, what do you think about, I had run it by Tanya a couple times because she knew my sponsor, and we now have the same sponsor. And she was like, well, I don't know, like, run it by your counselor. And Tanya really wouldn't get involved and say a whole lot about it, which I think is great that she didn't, because she was like, later she said, I didn't want to be any part of that decision-making process for you. Like, you needed to make that decision. So I said to my counselor, I said, what do you think about me, like, getting a female sponsor? And he was like, well, tell me about her and how many years of sobriety she has. And, does she, she have a working knowledge of the 12 steps? I'm like, does she? Let me tell you. So anyway, like, everything kind of, panned out. And, so the other thing is this, and I don't know that this ever played into it, but my old sponsor that I had, my last sponsor that I had, he had like 10 years less sobriety than I did. And I never thought it was an issue until after we were not sponsored. And he and I talk quite a bit. Like, we still talk maybe once a month. Like, he's a super nice guy, and I consider him a very close friend. And actually, like, I said this to him the last time on the phone, like, had he not sponsored me at that point in my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Like, and it was specific to him. Like, I think, like, that's the thing. Like, I've learned something specific from each sponsor that I've had, and he got me through this period of my life. And he, that was when I was going to a lot of Skid Row meetings, and I was like, going to meetings where there was a lot of homeless people, and that I needed that. Like, I needed to have my ass humbled to realize that, but for the grace of God, there go I. Like, that could be me, right? And he made that very loud and clear for me, and that was really, really powerful at that point of my life. But he had 10 years less sobriety than me, and I don't know that I think that really matters, and to be honest with you, I don't know that to me it mattered. But I do think that in retrospect, I always think that I think he was aware of it. Like, it always was kind of like there in his head, if that makes sense. Because I look back, and he's kind of said some things since then, too, about, but I didn't think it mattered, I don't know. I mean, there's no rule that says your sponsor has to have more sobriety time than you do. But anyway, so I just remember having this session with my counselor, and he was like, well, why don't you try it? And he was like, what's the worst that can happen? And I was like, well, I think that's a good point. Like, what's the worst that can happen? So I called her up, and I said, hey, I have a question for you. And she said, what? And I said, I was nervous as hell. This is one thing, every sponsor I've gotten, no matter how much sobriety time I have, each one that I've had to ask to be my sponsor, I was literally like shaking like this. I was nervous leave. My sponsor that I had the longest time, that was like my dear, dear friend, Tanya and all of my friends had already told him that I was going to ask him. And so he already knew, and I was not aware of that. And I remember I called him. I was at work, and it was like a family night, and it was me and my friend that I see at my friend Erin's house, because she worked with her for a while. I can remember we were sitting there, and she was like, just call him. And I was like, I'm so nervous. And we talk about this 10-pound phone, in sobriety that we're afraid to pick up because it's so heavy. And she was like, just call him. And so I finally called him, and he was like, he's the guy that always says to me, if nobody else told you this, well, he's not the one that says that, but he'll say, what does he say? In case you forgot, me and God love you. He's so funny. It's my other friend. She always says to me, if nobody else told you this today, I love you. I love her. I haven't seen her in a while. But anyway, so I called him, and he was like, hello. And I was like, it's Peter. And he was like, about time you called. I've been waiting for days. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, I hear you got something to ask me. And I was like, will you be my sponsor? And he said, of course I'll be your sponsor. I've been waiting for days for you to ask me. I go, how did you know? He goes, because everybody told me. So anyway, but at least everybody looks out for each other, you know, I guess. Anyway, so I called up my sponsor now that I have, and I said, I was nervous, but I wasn't as nervous as before. And I said, hey, can I ask you a question? We were talking for a little bit. I said, hey, I have a question for you. And she was like, what's the question? And I said, if I were to ask you to sponsor me, I said, what would you think about that idea? And she was silent for a second. And she said, I would first have to talk to my sponsor to see what she thinks about me sponsoring a man. Because she said, I've never done that before. And she said, and I would need to pray on it. And she said, but, I think that that's something that we can definitely talk about. And I said, okay. And she said, let me call my sponsor and let me get back to you in like a day. So she called me back, and she said she had talked to her sponsor, and her sponsor said that she thought it was fine, and that if I was a newcomer, she probably would recommend not. That she would recommend like a man to sponsor me. But she said since I had been around a while and I'd worked steps and stuff, she thought that was okay. And, you know, because, like, if something happens, she can also refer me to a guy that she knows in the program and be like, I think you should go talk to so-and-so about this issue if she feels like it's, like, that kind of issue, you know? But anyway, but we've talked about everything, and I'm more comfortable talking to her about stuff than I've been to any of my other sponsors. So, and I've always been like that. I've always felt more comfortable talking to women. Although, with our counselor, it's so weird because we had a straight male counselor, and I felt so comfortable with him. Like, like Alex tonight, he said that because we were like, had these two guys that we had narrowed counseling down to. And then I don't know why we just don't jump on one. We need to just call one of these counselors. But anyway, his friend gave him the name, gave Alex the name of her counselor and was like, oh, this is somebody that you guys should try and whatever. And I don't know, like my immediate response to that was like, ooh, like I don't know that I want to, like, not like ooh, but like we did so well with like this straight male guy, like I don't want to, like, maybe that's what we need, you know, for us or something. I don't know. Which is so weird because in the past, like, I've seen other male counselors, but, like, I've always, like, gotten along better with female counselors. Like, isn't that crazy that I would be, like, that would be my response to it with marriage counseling? I don't know why. So, anyway. But, at this point, I'm just kind of like, whatever. We just want to get someone to bounce stuff off of. You know, we don't ever want to get back to that point where things are like horrible again. And we've gone now, a year and a half without having a counselor, and things have been really great. But I think that we would just feel better if we had, I mean, we'll probably, like, if we get another counselor, always have a counselor, like, off and on. Does that make sense? Like, just somebody. I think we both are very aware that no matter how much we love each other and our communication pattern, how great it is, that we both have the ability at some point, if we're not, you know, working on ourselves or working on each other or working on our marriage, to get back to that point, and we don't ever want that to happen again. And marriage is work, you know? So anyway, so she called me the next day and she told me that she would sponsor me. And that's what happened. And then we got together and we met and we kind of like shared stories, and that was it. She had me do some inventory my first night, and we went to Charleston's and ate, and it was fun, and she drinks one cup of coffee after another. And, yeah, and I adore her. And, you know, she knows my husband, and I have a sponsor family now. I have a grand sponsor, and I have sponsor sisters. I don't have any other sponsor brothers, but that's okay. And, you know, I'm proud of her being my sponsor. It's like, she's just the coolest, and, she loves me, and she loves me unconditionally, I think, is like what's important, you know, like, and I know that, and we laugh, and she's my friend today, and that's something I've always wanted. But the thing that's so wonderful with her is, and she's not a whole lot older than me, she's, you know, in case she's ever in my video, I don't want to say, but anyway, but she has the ability to be my friend in one moment, but the next moment that I'm asking for suggestions or I'm running something by her, it's the friend mode is gone, and she is my sponsor and I am her sponsee. And that is one of the things I greatly respect about her, is the ability that we are both able to know, like, our place with that relationship. And she's kind of like an older sister type to me that knows a hell of a lot about how to help me with my life. And I love her dearly. And that's my sponsor story. So yeah, I mean, somebody, like, I have friends of mine that have had their sponsors for their entire sobriety, and I have other friends of mine that have had twice as many sponsors as I have had, you know? It's just conditional. A lot of people have sponsors that pass away, or, you know, people go back out sometimes, and they pick up again, you know, even, yes, after 20 years that happens. I had a friend of mine that happened too, you know? Or a lot of people will say, like, you know, like, well, you're not willing to listen to anything that I have to say, so I think maybe you need to go get another sponsor or hear it from somebody else. Or I'm just kind of throwing out things. Like, I don't know how often that happens, but I mean, because it's not like that. It's like you make suggestions, and if, I don't necessarily believe in that train of thought so much, if you can tell, but I mean, we make suggestions, we share our experience, strength, and hope, and if somebody wants to take it, they take it, and if they don't, well, that's on them, you know? And that's what my old sponsor that I had for the longest time, like, that's one of the things that was so fantastic about him. Like, I would call him up, and I would say, like, I don't know what to do in this situation, and it could be anything, you know, like, and he would say, well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'll tell you what I would do in that situation. And I would say, okay, what would you do? And he'd be like, well, let me tell you a story. 1965. And he would tell me some story, you know, from when he was, you know. I can't believe this battery is dying too. What is the problem? Oh my God, with these batteries. Well, I guess I have been talking for like an hour and almost 18 minutes or something. But anyway, he would, you know, he'd only share his experience, strength, and hope. And he'd be like, well, that's what I would do, you know, like, I mean, you know, but if it were me, I would do ... But you don't have to take my suggestions. You can do what you want to do, you know? I think simply, like, there is this idea in sobriety that, like, if I have somebody as a sponsor, if somebody, like, let's say if I'm sponsoring somebody, right, and then that person comes to me and they say, I want to get somebody else as a sponsor, that, like, I don't have hurt feelings over that. Like, I want that person to get the most out of what they want to get from sobriety, right? Like, but I have been worried about that with sponsors of mine, that I have, like, told them I'm getting other people, and none of them have ever acted like they were hurt or upset. They're probably like, thank God. No. But you know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, there's no, like, ownership or anything, you know what I mean? And, I mean, maybe you feel like somebody brought you so far and now you see somebody that has something else you want. And so you go to them and you think, okay, well, this person has, you know, like, here's an example. I worked with this guy for a long time, and he's still a very dear friend of mine today, and he has kids. And so he, like, came to me and he was like, how would you feel about me getting somebody that has kids? Because, like, I feel like, you know, I could talk to them about, like, raising my kids, and, like, you know, I feel like maybe I'm not the greatest dad in the world and whatever. And I was like, I think that's great. Who are you thinking about? And, you know, he told me who he was thinking about, and it was somebody obviously that I highly respect, and I was like, yeah, I think that would be awesome. And that guy's a sponsor today, and they have a great working relationship. And I think that that's what he needed. You know what I mean? Like, none of us are the end all of the world just because we're sober. And I think that's where arrogance, ego, and pride sometimes comes into play with it too. But I will say that when I got my sponsor, I told her, I said, like, you're my sponsor till I die. Like, I don't want another sponsor. Like, I don't want to have to get somebody else. And I love her. I think she's fantastic. I mean, and I will say that we haven't always seen eye to eye in the couple years that she sponsored me now. I mean, we've had some times where she's like said things to me that I'm just like, okay. Like, she challenges me a lot. And, but you know, like, I know she does it because she loves me. I know she does it because she wants the best for me. And I also know that she would be there for me in a heartbeat. Like, she would do whatever she needed to do for me. The only reason I would get another sponsor is if I moved, or if they moved. Because for me, like, one of the things is, like, I like seeing my sponsor face to face. Like, I like being able to say, can I drive over there? You know what I mean? Like, that's important to me, to be able to have that connection with them. I know a lot of people that like move and they keep their sponsors, and their sponsors live hours and hours away, but like, I can have that person as a friend, and I can have that person as a mentor, but like, I need somebody that I can talk to as well, you know, like, so, and see, and be able to see them, and, you know. Well, Tanya, when she sponsors people, she's like, I want to be able to see you like once a week, like at the same meeting, so I can see you eye to eye to make sure that you're doing okay. And I very much believe in that too, you know, like, I want to see my sponsor, and I feel blessed. I feel blessed with the people that I have been surrounded around in sobriety, you know, and I am constantly meeting new people that are just fantastic, and just a cool world. It's a cool world to be sober. So thank you for asking me that. I really appreciate it. I got to kind of go down memory lane a little bit with all of that. I also think about the people that I've thought about having as sponsors, because I've had quite a few of those too, that I'm like, okay, if I ever need another sponsor, he's going to be my sponsor. You know, I had this one guy for a long time. He's a good friend of mine, and I would tell him, I'd say, one day you're going to be my sponsor. He's never been my sponsor, and he probably won't be at this point, but he's still a very dear friend of mine. It's kind of like this cool thing though, right? Like, you see this person that has this attitude about living that is just, you know, glorious and amazing, and you think, God, I want them to teach me what they know, you know? Like, I want them to share with me everything they know so that I can have that too. And then you get to ask that person to be your sponsor, and they can't say no. Because we're not supposed to say no to things that we're asked to do in sobriety. No, I mean, like, if you're sponsoring too many people or whatever, there's reasons why you can't, right? But like, I think that's such a cool concept that you get to ask this person to basically be your free mentor and friend, if that should so happen, you know? But like, you get to ask this person to be your free mentor for life, to teach you like everything that they know, you know? It's more about sobriety than it is about life. But if you're lucky, then you get somebody that will, I mean, they're not a marriage counselor. They're not there to help you fix your marriage problems. Those are outside issues. They're really there just to work you through the steps of recovery. But, you know, if that happens that you develop a relationship like that over time, you know, I don't know. My sponsor, she helps me with all kinds of, we got laughing so hard tonight on the phone. I'm trying to think of an example of something that she's like giving me advice about that has, like, it's about sobriety, but she wouldn't think it's about sobriety. Well, one of the things that she's taught me a lot about is like asking for what I need from people. Like, I'm somebody that, like, assumes that people should know what I need from them, you know, like, in friendships and romantic relationships and from family. But she's, like, really taught me that, like, as a human being, I'm worth it, and I have a right to ask for things that I need or want. Maybe not what my needs are, but what I want. Now, those people, they have a right to say no, you know, but, like, if I want to spend, you know, more quality time with my husband, or if I want him to bring me flowers, or if I want to do, you know, like a weekend with my dad, or whatever it would be, you know, I'm just making stuff up, or that I have a right to ask for those things as a human being today, you know. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get those things, but maybe, you know, like, and it's really, really helped my relationship with Alex, because Alex is somebody that does that already. Like, he already asked for what he needs. Like, Alex, because he has such, like, he came from a very healthy family. I did not, you know? So he already has, like, great communication skills kind of anyway. And so he's always been able to ask for things. So he'll say, like, in a lot of our conversations, he'll say, why don't you just come out and ask me? And I'm like, yeah, that would probably be easier, wouldn't it? Instead of me, like, beating around the bush. So she has taught me, my sponsor has really taught me to do that and encouraged me to do that. Like, that's like a life lesson kind of thing. And she's, like, walked me through how to do that. And she'll say, and this is how you say it, and this is blah, 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 and this is what I do in those situations, and if, you know, this is how I process that, and then you come back to me and you talk to me about what they say, and, like, she walks me through everything while she's sitting there and redoing her kitchen, bathroom, living room, she's like anti-Maine with that stuff. She's constantly redoing her house. She's constantly repurposing stuff. She's obsessed with, like, hair and makeup, but, like, she could flip a house like nobody's business. And she's absolutely hilarious, and she's a great storyteller. So she's so fun. I love her. She's just absolutely incredible to me. I like sit here and I tell these stories, and then, like, when I get off here, I don't want to listen to my audiobook. Like, I want to listen to, like, a recovery lead. I want to listen to somebody's story, because I feel so inspired and motivated just talking about it, because I get so excited about being sober. Like, I feel so full of life and so excited to be sober and to be, you know, clean and sober today and whatever. I just love it. I love talking about it. It makes me so happy, you know. And my battery, I just looked over and it's flashing red, so that's a sign that I need to get off here now. I'm almost been talking for an hour and a half anyway, I think. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here now, and coming soon will be a vlog from me and Michael from Pathology, and hopefully if we ever get connected somehow. And thank you guys so much for watching. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Remember, you can start your day over whenever you want. Practice random acts of kindness. Like I also always say, practice random acts of kindness, but like I also always say, don't tell anyone. Most importantly, let somebody know how much they mean to you. Like it says in the 4 agreements, always lead with love. And you know what? Let's just put some love, compassion, kindness, goodness. Let's just be really cool to one another, you know? And tolerance too, even though I hate that word so much. But maybe today our lesson should be sometimes we have to tolerate BS and put a smile on our face. Not important BS. Not important BS. I'm going to try to get behind the word of tolerance. Not important stuff that really matters, but maybe the stuff that doesn't matter, we can just... Anyway, I don't know. I have a hard time with that, do you? What am I talking about even? All right, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!